Assalamu alaikum students. I once again welcome you all to my class. Today in this video we are going to do the exercises, themes and significance of the title of the story Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood. So first we will do question answers from Think As You Read. Let's move to that page. First we have questions from the first story. First question is, what is Sahib looking for in the garbage dumps? Where is he and where has he come from? Very simple question it is. And yes, I want to tell you one thing that I'm not going to discuss the question answers in detail. I will discuss just briefly and you have to elaborate them on your own. Okay, so what is Sahib looking for in the garbage dumps? Where is he and where has he come from? So it is very simple. Sahib is looking for gold definitely in the garbage dumps, and again I will say that it does not mean actual gold, but any valuable thing or any valuable commodity. So he is looking for gold in the garbage dumps. He is in Simapuri, in the neighborhood of the author, and he has come from Dhaka, Bangladesh in 1971 with his mother, because the storms swept away his and others' homes there. It is important to mention, although it is not asked if why did he come to Simapuri, but it is good if you mention this thing also, that he came because storms swept away his and others' homes there. Next question. What explanations does the author offer for the children not wearing footwear? Okay, the explanation that the author offers for children not wearing footwear is a tradition that the explanation that she gets is that it is a tradition to stay barefoot and not lack of money. Basically, the reason is they do not wear shoes because it is a tradition there, and it is not because they do not have money. So it is a tradition to stay barefoot and not lack of money. Although she wonders whether it is the actual reason or just an excuse to escape from an eternal state of poverty. So she does not believe, in that explanation. She wonders whether it is the actual reason or just an, escape, just an excuse to escape from an eternal state of poverty. Third question is Sahib happy working at the tea stall? Explain. No, we all know that he is not at all happy working there at the tea stall. And why? The important thing is why. Why he is not happy? Because he is no longer his own master. It is evident from his face. Okay, why he is not happy? First, you have to mention why he is not happy, and it is very clearly evident from his face that it is evident from his face which has lost the carefree look. So he is no longer his own master, and the steel canister that he is carrying seems heavier than the plastic bag that he would carry so lightly over his shoulders. The reason can be that the bag was his, whereas the canister belongs to the owner of the tea shop. That is why he is not happy that now he has to work under someone else and he is controlled by someone else. So these were the questions from the first story. Now let's move to the next story. Let me go to that page. Okay, so this is, what makes the city of Firozabad famous? Very simple question. The art of bangle making makes the city of Firozabad famous, and you can just add a few more sentences like it is the center of India's glass blowing industry and is famous for its bangles. You can write like this, that the art of making bangles makes the city of Firozabad famous, and it is the center of India's glass blowing industry, and it is famous for its bangles. Okay, next question is, mention the hazards of working in the glass bangles industry. There are several hazards of working in the glass bangles industry, like for example, the dust from polishing the glass is injurious to eyes. The workers have to work in the dingy cells without air and light, of course, in the high temperatures, because of which they often lose their eyesight before they become adults. So even they do not reach even to their adulthood stage, and they become they go blind before that stage. So you have to mention this. Next question is, how is Mukesh's attitude to his situation different from that of his family? Okay, so in order to answer this question, first you have to tell. So here it is asked how his attitude is different from that of his family. So first you have to mention. Simply it is not asked. ये नहीं पूछा गया यहाँ पर कि what is the attitude of Mukesh? कि Mukesh का क्या attitude है? No, it is asking how it is different. So when the difference is asked, so it is important that you mention the attitude of his family. कि what is the attitude of his family, towards their situation. So, first of all, we have to write that Mukesh belongs to a very poor family of bangle makers, which thinks, family thinks that it is a God-given lineage and can never be broken. It can never be changed. So, this destiny, this fate has been decided by the God, and it can never be changed. So, that is why they have to keep on working in this profession. The family members that the family members believe जो family members हैं उसके मुकेश के, so they believe that they have to carry on this profession because they are born in this caste. That is why they have to carry on this profession. However, Mukesh's attitude is very different. So now you have to start. So first you have told what is the attitude of the family, that they think that it is a God-given lineage, and because they are born in this caste, that is why they have to carry on this profession only. So this is the attitude of the family. Now you have to write what is the attitude of Mukesh. So Mukesh's attitude is that he wants to break this family tradition. How? By becoming a motor mechanic. किस तरीके से break करेगा? By becoming a motor mechanic. He is very determined. He is very determined and wants to go to a garage to learn this art, even if the garage is very far from his home. So his determination is shown. How he is ready to go to garage on foot, even if the garage is very far from his home. So these were the questions from this story. Now let's move to the main exercise questions. Understanding the text. What could be some of the reasons for the migration of people from villages to cities? Okay, so in this question you can categorize the reasons into two broad categories. One, that some people migrate willingly while others are forced to migrate. Because of some reasons, they are forced to migrate from one place to another. So, if if they migrate willingly, so the reasons can be like for better living, for jobs, for education. So these can be the reasons why people migrate willingly, in search of job, for better living, for education, etc. Whereas the people who are forced to migrate from one place to another, so the reasons can be because of some natural calamity like flood, storm, drought, famine, etc. The natural calamity hits their area, and because of that they have to move from their place. And definitely, because they are when their houses are destroyed because of natural calamity, so they have to find shelter at some other place. And then in this lesson, which type of migration it is? In this lesson, Sahib's family had to migrate from Dhaka to Simapuri when storms destroyed their house. So यहाँ पर it is a forced migration, rather it is a forced migration that because the storms have swept away their homes, that is why they had to migrate to Simapuri. So again, do you understand that in this question you have to categorize the reasons into two broad categories. One, the people migrate willingly, and the other those who are forced to migrate. So you can write the answers accordingly. And you have to mention what kind of migration is shown in this chapter. So in this chapter, in this story, forced migration is shown. Okay, let's move to the next question. Would you agree that promises made to poor children are rarely kept? Why do you think this happens in the incidents narrated in the text? Yes, definitely we do agree that promises made to poor children are rarely kept. And why do you think? Yes. So first of all, you have to support your answer with the help of an example, and you can include the example when while talking to Saib, the narrator, once lighted a ray of hope in him, and how she lighted a ray of hope by encouraging him to study if she opens a school. Although she was not serious, we all know that she was not serious about it, but had sown a seed of hope in him unknowingly. She realized her mistake when after a few days Saib came running to her and inquired about her school. Her hollow promise then left her embarrassed. And this example you can include in this answer. And why do you think this happens? These the upper class people, they think that the high class ones, they think that they can suppress these people, the lower class ones, the poor people, to any extent they want, and it is because they think that even if they raise their voice will not be heard. कोई उनको सुनेगा नहीं. That is that they take benefit of that thing, and they keep on suppressing these people. So this is they make promises, but they do not fulfill these promises. Clear? Let's move to the next question. What forces conspire to keep the workers in the Bengal industry of Firozabad in poverty? Very simple. What forces you have to write? The forces are they include who? Saukars, middlemen, policemen, and the keepers of the law, the bureaucrats, and the politicians. Collectively, together, what they do? They impose a heavy burden on the child, which he can never put down. ये करते हैं वो लोग उनके साथ. So what they do, they collectively what they do, they impose a heavy burden on the child which he can never put down. Okay, so our next exercise is talking about the text. Question number 1 here is, how in your opinion can Mukesh realize his dream? So you have to write your opinion, but as far as my opinion is concerned, so Mukesh can realize his dream if he remains determined, patient, and hard worker. Thing, and he would no doubt have to, he will have to come across a lot of obstacles in achieving his aim, but a strong willpower can help him out in achieving these difficulties. Then next thing, his strong determination is already visible from his willing to cover a long distance on foot to garage. See, his determination is already visible, but he just have to be a little more resilient and patient. If he remains this, then he can easily realize his dream of becoming a motor mechanic, right? Next question is, mention the hazards of working in the glass Bengals industry. We have already done this question. Now let's move to the next. That is, why should child labor be eliminated and how? Child labor should be eliminated because, why? First of all, it snatches away from the child his childhood and his life is exploited. Then what happens next? He is deprived of enjoying his rights. उसको उसके rights नहीं मिल पाते हैं. Moreover, what happens more is when they are forced to work in hazardous employment. When children are when they are forced to work in the hazardous employment, like bengal making, और भी बहुत सारे इस तरीके के होते हैं. So what happens then? They become subject to mental and physical illness. ये उनके साथ होता है. And like we have seen in this story, second story में जो हमने देखा, that they have become subject to mental and physical illness. Physical illness is clearly visible, that most of them they go blind before they even before they become adults. So this is physical illness. Next is the question is how it should be eliminated. Okay, so it should be cured or eliminated by not merely passing the law against child labor. खाली law बनाने से कुछ नहीं होगा, but also enacting it honestly. This is important. It should be enacted. The law should be enacted honestly and strictly. ईमानदारी से और strictly it should be enacted. And apart from that, education should be made easily accessible, as you all of know that. All of you know that education should be made easily accessible to these children, and people should be made aware of the hazards and working of a child in harmful environment. Although many campaigns are run regarding this, aware करवाया जाता है, but they are not proving useful. So usko ईमानदारी से and very effectively this should be done. People should be made aware of this. hazardous and working of a child in a harmful environment. They should also be made aware that child labor is criminal and punishable offense. बताना चाहिए लोगों को that it is a criminal and punishable offense. If anyone engages a child in child labor, then that person is should be punished. Right? So this is the thing. So with this we have completed your question answers. Now let's move to the next exercise, that is thinking about language. Although this text speaks of factual events and situations of misery, it transforms these situations with an almost poetical prose into a literary experience. How does it do so? Here are some literary devices. So definitely, okay, it is a prose work, but we find something poetical also here. So some of the literary devices that are used here, hyperbole. Hyperbole is a way of speaking or writing that makes something sound better or more exciting than it really is. For example, garbage to them is gold. This is what happens in a hyperbole. It is a very clear. It is not hyperbole or hyperbole. It is hyperbole. So it is a figure of speech which involves what? An exaggeration. Exaggeration होता है मतलब बातों को बढ़ा चढ़ाकर कहना of ideas for the sake of emphasis. मतलब ideas को exaggerate करा जाता है. So what happens in a hyperbole? It involves an exaggeration of ideas. And why do we exaggerate the ideas? Just for the sake of emphasis. Exciting बनाने के लिए उस situation को, that is why that idea is overemphasized. And so this figure of speech is called hyperbole. For example, garbage to them is gold. Okay, next is metaphor. So a metaphor, as you may know, compares two things or ideas that are not very similar. So simile also we do comparison, and in metaphor also we do comparison, but you will come across, or you will know what a simile is in the next lines. A metaphor describes a thing in terms of a single quality or feature of some other thing. We can say that a metaphor transfers a quality of one thing to another. For example, the road was a ribbon of light. So in metaphor, just a single quality is compared, not the whole thing. Okay, then we have simile. A simile is a word or phrase that compares one thing with another using the words like or as. Here, these words like or as, these are important. These words are important. इनके बिना simile नहीं होती है. For example, as white as snow. So we are comparing the whiteness of something with the snow. So as white as snow. So now what we have to do, carefully read the following phrases and the sentences taken from the text. Can you identify the literary device in each example? So what you have to do, you have to identify the literary device that has been used in each of these examples. So first one here is Sahib-e-Alam, which means the Lord of the Universe, is directly in contrast to what Sahib is in reality. It is irony. Basically, it is irony here कि जो situation है वो दिखाई गई है, it radically differs from the reality. And what is an irony? Irony is what appears, what differs radically from the reality. जो चीज हमें दिख रही है उसे exactly उस चीज का opposite होना, which it means. So this is irony here, first of all, because the condition of Sahib-e-Alam is directly in contrast to the meaning of his name. जो उसका मतलब है उसको बिल्कुल भी उसके पास नहीं है. And if you want to name this sentence, from the literary devices that are given above, so it is hyperbole here, because that it is a hyperbole. Why? Because no one on the earth can have the qualities of a god. किसी के अंदर भी नहीं हो सकती हैं. So that is why what we say about Sahib-e-Alam, उसका ही फिर क्या बात करनी है. So when no one can have the qualities of a god, that is why it is a hyperbole that the narrator has directly said that this person Sahib-e-Alam does not have anything according to his name. So that is why it is hyperbole and irony. Drowned in an air of desolation, it is a metaphor that that city, ये वाला incident है जहाँ पर जो temple था, a small boy used to pray for a pair of shoes. So that city, that village had drowned in an air of desolation. So it is metaphor here. Okay, next is Simapuri, a place on the periphery of Delhi yet miles away from it. यहाँ पर this is contrast or antithesis, यानी opposite things. And why it is a contrast or antithesis? Because the places, the areas in inside Delhi, they are very posh areas, whereas if you see the areas outside the Delhi, on its periphery, so they are very dowdy and tacky. So although when some area is on its periphery, it means that is the part of that very city. But the condition of Simapuri and the posh areas and inside Delhi, they are totally opposite to each other. I explained it quite well while explaining the chapter. Let's move to the next one. That is, for the children, it is wrapped in wonder. For the elders, it is a means of survival. So it is a contrast. Why? Because garbage means differently for both the elders and the children. बड़ों के लिए उसका कुछ और मतलब है, and for the children it has a different meaning. That is why it is a contrast here. Then next, as her hands move mechanically like the tongs of a machine, very clear from this line that the hands of the girl are compared to a tong. So as her hands move mechanically like the tongs of a machine, I wonder if she knows the sanctity of the bangles she helps make. So इसके जरिए आपको बताना है कि which literary device is it. So it is simile. She still has bangles on her wrist, but not light in her eyes. So here, this is what paradox it is. And what is a paradox? Contrast तो है definitely, एक opposition तो है ही कि she has bangles on her wrist but does not have light in her eyes. It is a paradox. Paradox it is a statement which seems on its face to be logically contradictory or absurd. मतलब देखने में तो हमको, सुनने में तो हमको it would appear to us absurd, but but in the end it turns out to be sensible. It appears to be making sense. ऐसा लगने लगता है हमको. So same thing is happening here, that she still has bangles on her wrist but not light in her eyes. So basically this sentence can appear to be absurd, but it has a very deep meaning. Very deep meaning it has, and it makes sense. Next is few airplanes fly over Firozabad. Hyperbole. ऐसा नहीं है कि नहीं कम जा रहे हैं वहां पर. That Mukesh does not even know about planes much. So that is why it is hyperbole here. Then web of poverty, it is metaphor. Scrounging for gold. This is again metaphor that the garbage that they are scrounging in, the valuable things that they are finding in that garbage, garbage has been compared to gold. So that is why it is metaphor here. And survival in Simapuri means rag picking. Through the years, it has acquired the proportions of fine art. Again, hyperbole. ऐसा भी नहीं है कि all the rag pickers that live in Simapuri, they do just rag picking and their earning depends on rag picking. No, it's not like that. People do some of the work also there, and they have other professions. They are involved in other professions also, but basically most of the people do rag picking. But it's not like that. That survival there means rag picking. Through the years, it has acquired the proportions of a fine art. कि वो fine art बन गया, it has become like an art in them. So that is why it is hyperbole. Okay, last, the steel canister seems heavier than the plastic bag he would carry so lightly over his shoulders. Again, contrast, or you can say paradox here. कि जो the steel canister है, it seems heavier than the plastic bag. समझ में नहीं आ रहा है अभी तो कि उसको ऐसा क्यों कहा गया. But if you think deeply, then yes, it is definitely, the steel canister is definitely heavier than the plastic bag that Sahib is carrying. And I have explained to you while explaining the chapter why it is appearing heavier, right? So this was the exercise regarding the literary devices. Now next we have things to do. The beauty of the glass bangles of Firozabad contrast with the misery of people who produce them. Definitely, yes. The beauty of glass bangles, जो beauty है glass bangles की, that are produced where in Firozabad. that beauty is directly opposite to the misery of people who produce them. No, no, the one who is producing these bangles is not as beautiful. It means his life is not as beautiful as the bangles that he is producing. उसकी life खूबसूरत नहीं है जिस तरीके से जो खूबसूरत चीज वो बना रहा है. Okay, this paradox is also found in some other situations. For example, those who work in gold and diamond mines or carpet weaving factories and the products of their labor, the lives of construction workers and the buildings they build. Definitely. So ऐसा नहीं है कि this is the condition of the bangle makers only, but every other person who does such kind of work. जिस तरीके से if you see in those who work in gold and diamond mines, the people who work in these mines, how hard work they put in such their work, कितना मेहनत वो करते हैं, right? और carpet weaving factories, यहाँ पर जितना भी काम हो रहा है, so they put a lot of hard work in preparing these materials, these things, and the products of their labor, the lives of construction workers and the buildings they built. So जिस तरीके से जो masons हैं, they are making the buildings. So just on one hand you have the lives of the ones who are producing, who are making these things, and on the other hand you have the lives of those who are using them या who are living in them. जो लोग घर बनवा रहे हैं, they have enough money that to have such kind of expensive bungalow or house, but the one who is making that house is a very poor person. So look around and find examples of such paradoxes. Write a paragraph of about 200 to 250 words on any one of them. You can start by making notes. Here is an example of how one such paragraph may begin. You never see the poor in his town. By day they toil, working cranes and earth movers, squirreling deep into the hot sand to lay the foundations of Rome. By night they are banished to bleak labor camps at the outskirts of the city. So you have to complete it on your own. Let's move to the next thing, that is about the unit. So themes. So we have done the exercises. Now let's move to the themes. The main theme of this chapter is the plight of the street children, forced into labor early in life and denied the opportunity of schooling. Definitely, the main theme of this chapter, Loss of Spring, is the plight of street children, the pain of the street children who are forced to work in their early lives and denied the opportunity, and they are deprived of the facilities of opportunity of going to school. वहाँ स्कूल उनको भेजा नहीं जाता, उस चीज से वो पीछे रह जाते हैं. So definitely other things also, they are deprived of many other facilities. So this is the main theme, that the pain of street children who are forced into child labor in their early period of life, and they are deprived of many opportunities in their life, and one of them is opportunity of going to school. Clear? The other theme can be is the callousness of society and the political class to the sufferings of the poor. Then the callousness, the insensitive, cruel, ignorant attitude of the society and the political class towards these poor people and their sufferings. उनकी तरफ जो उनका careless attitude है, ignorant या cruel attitude है, so that is another theme. So you have to support your answer if you get a question on the themes of this chapter. Then you have to, first of all, you have to mention what are the themes. So you have to write the main theme, and then you have to support your answer with the examples from the chapter. Then you have to write the sub theme या other themes of the chapter, and you have to support your answer with the examples again. So this is how you have to write the answer. Okay, now let's move to the significance of the title. Okay, now we have significance or justification of the title. So childhood is compared to spring season, that is and it is a metaphor here that childhood is compared to the spring season, and spring is a season. So first you have to understand what are the qualities of of a spring season. What does it symbolize? So it is a season of renewal, rejuvenation, bloom, etc. So it is a time when everything looks new. It appears to be very fresh, and flowers bloom in this season, and it comes after winters and before summers, succeeding winters and preceding summers. It means it comes after winters and before summers. Winters symbolize death, whereas summers symbolize youthfulness. So it comes between these two seasons, and summers remind us of youthfulness. Okay, childhood is a stage of innocence, enthusiasm, stamina, etc. So what happens in childhood? A child is very innocent. He is full of enthusiasm. He is very enthusiastic, full of energy, and he has a lot of stamina. And the things that he do in childhood is he goes to school, learn new skills, gain new knowledge. These are the things. Okay, no, it is a time when the child starts going to school, and he learns very different new things, and he gains knowledge. And so these are the things. Okay, now you have understood, okay, what does the spring season symbolize, and what are the qualities of childhood also. Just put these things together. Now see, okay, the childhood that has been shown in this chapter of two children, that is Sahib and Mukesh, do they have the same things that have been discussed here? They have the charm, the innocence, the enthusiasm, like a child should have in his childhood? No. So it means, they do not have any spring-like quality in their lives, in their childhood. So it means the spring season has been stolen. It is like as if one full stage of life has been cut down from their lives. कि पूरा कट ही गई है वो वाली life वहां से. It is like कि जो charm है उनकी life का, the childhood, that is a very important stage of a person's life. कि childhood is a very important stage of a person's life that is missing from the lives of both these children, that is Sahib and Mukesh. कि उन दोनों के life से जो important एक stage थी life की, that is totally missing. So what they should have been done, that is what they should have been doing is they should have they had to go to school. So instead of school bag, they have what? They have garbage bag in hands. So instead of school bags, they must have a school bag in their hands. At this time of their life, but what they are having, a garbage bag. And what Mukesh is doing, he is making bangles. And instead of going to school, they go to garbage dumps. Sorry, it should be go to garbage dumps and furnaces. Where they go? They go to garbage dumps and to furnaces. And instead of being fed, they help in feeding their families. That is a very important thing. Instead of being fed, मतलब ये ऐसा time था that they उनको खिलाने की जरूरत थी. They needed to be having food before them. उनके सामने होना चाहिए था. But what they are doing, they are looking for food here and there, and they are working hard to get food. So instead of being fed, they help in feeding their families. किस तरीके से उनकी families उनको खिलाती हैं. So it means as if they have reached to youthfulness. कि उनकी life में what has happened? Spring is missing, and directly what has come? Summer season has come. Spring season is missing from their lives, and directly summer season has come in their life. So what you can say, that childhood is missing directly from infancy. From infant stage, they have moved where they have moved to the to the youth age. They have become youths बन चुके हैं वो, and childhood is completely missing. So this was the significance of the title. And again, I will say that whenever you are writing themes, justification, you have to support your answer with the help of examples from the text. So you have to write the examples from first story and both from the second story. So okay, so with this we have completed our chapter Loss of Spring, stories of stolen childhood, and let's see you in the next video with a new chapter. Till then, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz. And pray for the world. Yes, don't forget that. Pray for the world. Allah Hafiz.